Hello, welcome back to Movies TV Mag. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mag. You can follow me now on Instagram, Movies TV Mag X. So please do that if you're interested in seeing more of this face's opinions and takes. So today we are live. I want to go live a hell of a lot more because I'm fed up of sitting here for 9 hours waiting for videos, half-an-hour videos, to upload on my rubbish internet. So what I want to do is do live videos because I also want to cover this year's Big Brother UK on this platform, on other platforms, but I also want to continue, serving my DC fan base as well, because I'm a DC fan as well. So what I want to do is daily, at least one daily live video, maybe at this kind of time. Now it's around 10 a.m. here in Cyprus, so it's about 8 a.m. in the UK. So this may be a bit too early for you, but you know what the fun thing is? You can re-watch this video whenever you like. So the negotiations between the Actors Union, SAG-AFTRA, and the industry, streamers, broadcasters, and film studios is going very, very well. I've been told by my sources that the strike could be over by the end of this week. Now, as James Gunn has already told us, as soon as that strike is over, he's going to make a multitude of Superman Legacy announcements, which is really, really exciting for me. We're going to find out who's playing Lex Luthor sooner rather than later. Jimmy Olsen sooner rather than later. Perry White sooner rather than later. But it's not just about those iconic Superman supporting characters. It's also iconic DC characters that are going to show up in this movie because there's massive DC Universe world building going to be introduced into this first DC Universe movie. But if you know me well, or you've seen my videos, you know I'm a huge Superman fan. You know I love the character. You know my first film I ever watched was Superman the movie. You know that I adore the character. I also love Man of Steel, Superman Returns, the Lois and Clark show, Superman and Lois. I love all Superman media. It's all been great. But Superman the movie is my favorite thing involving Superman. Then it would have to be Smallville. Then it would have to be Man of Steel, and I suppose the Snyderverse as well. So what do I want from a Superman movie? I was watching the 3-hour made-for-TV edit of Superman the movie yesterday because it's part of my collection. And one of the things that I noticed, seeing things from different angles, seeing different edits, seeing different shots, was the detail that Dick Donner put in that movie. He didn't have the cheat code of CGI. It's easy to sit there on a computer and design Krypton and make it look cool and make it look flash. But John Barry, the set designer, the graphic designer for Superman the movie, actually had to design things properly. Things had to be built. Having a fortress of solitude made of salt, so it looked like, they were in the North Pole when their shoes were dissolving. What they did with that movie, what they did with Star Wars 77, everything had to be shot within the camera, mostly. There was a few effects houses, but mostly most things were shot in the camera. So imagine what they had to do to make that movie. And Dick Donner could have absolutely cheated, but he didn't. He was determined to make a great Superman movie. So when that movie had its opening premiere where all the celebrities come, the creators of Superman, took Donner into a room. He started crying. They started crying. They loved the movie. They presented him with a Superman statue. This is what happens when you don't shave against the grain. So what do I want from Superman Legacy? I've heard what other people want from Superman Legacy. What do I want from Superman Legacy? James Gunn knows this is a really important moment in DC movie history. He really has to get Superman Legacy right. He's deeply thought about this character. He's written a script, and I really want him to focus on the most important things about the character. I don't mind him cameoing other characters in this movie. That's world building. and that's okay. One of many things I love about Superman the movie is the way Superman gracefully flies. Again, this would have been a very, very hard thing to do pre the cheat code of CGI, but Donner did it. This is what I want to see in Superman Legacy. I want to see great, graceful flying. You know, I want to celebrate Superman's gift of flight. I think that's one of the most important things. It's something that Superman the movie has done. I don't think the other movies have really captured what Donner did in terms of the flying. I don't. I mean, it's not like in Superman Returns or Man of Steel, the flying's inherently bad, because it isn't. But personally, I don't feel it's as good as what we saw in Superman the movie. Isn't that somewhat embarrassing? You know, we're talking about the 70s. I mean, they started shooting Superman the movie at the end of 1975. It was one of the longest shoots of all time for good reason. Christopher Reeve had to stay behind another year to do additional photography for VFX. So, you know, for Superman the movie to have the best Superman flying after all these years is a bit embarrassing on modern day creatives. Because when you've got the cheat code of CGI and you can sit there and create a computer generated image via computer, but Dick Donner and his production team and John Barry, the graphic designer, you know, did an amazing job. It really would have been really hard for them to create what they created. James a crap, hi, where? I don't know what you're talking about, James. I don't know what hi, where means. I'll say hello to you. If you can speak clearly, it will be a big help. Right, so yeah, we're talking Superman Legacy. We're talking what do I want from Superman Legacy? I'm very happy to have an unknown cast as Lex Luthor. I'm not a fan caster. I don't sit here. In a lot of ways, fan casting makes me cringe, especially with some of the suggestions. It's the same suggestions every time. I'd love an unknown as Jimmy Olsen. I'd love an unknown as Lex Luthor. But I wouldn't mind Michael Rosenbaum being picked. But that probably is impossible. James a crap, hi when? Still don't understand what you're talking about, mate. Anyway, let's carry on doing what we're here for me to talk. And of course, I want to respond to your comments if I can read them. Anyway, so. What do we want from Superman Legacy? We've spoken about the. Look, we want the beautiful relationship between Clark and Lois and Superman and Lois. And, you know, Hollywood's become a place that hates straight people, especially straight white males. It doesn't really celebrate the straight romance anymore. Two things that have gone from Hollywood is the leading man having the adventure, sharing the adventure with the woman. And the phrase getting the girl has become offensive to extremist Hollywood. But this is what sells. And this is why they're in the verge of bankruptcy. This is why they're on their knees, because the natural order of thing is the biggest selling point. This is why movies were so successful, and they're not. James a crap. Hi, when is your next live stream? James, I don't really understand your question. I'm here now talking to you live. I've been live for 9 minutes and you're asking me, you know, when the next live stream is. Are you on some kind of a wind-up or something? How do I know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow? I'm a very busy man. Look, I'm here live. I can't always do lives. So if you want to interact in what I'm talking about, Superman Legacy, that's great. But I have no idea when I'm going live again, James. It's a bit of an odd question if you ask me, when I've only been live, not even for 10 minutes. I'm here now. Let's focus now. Anyway, so we don't want Lex Luthor as the main villain. I don't expect Lex Luthor to be the main villain. There's rumors of a Middle Eastern incursion involving a fictional Middle Eastern country as part of the plot of Superman Legacy, which I think is very, very exciting, which we've already discussed in previous videos. There are rumors of Brainiac. I've said this before, that Brainiac is an easy rumor to, you know, we've had rumors of Brainiac in a Superman movie for many, many years. Now, I loved what James Masters did with Brainiac in Smallville, but he's not comic book accurate for budgetary reasons. They couldn't afford to, have a skull ship land, so they did a different type of ship. He was a different type of Brainiac, a very effective Brainiac, a great Brainiac, but not the Brainiac we know and love from the comics. Now, the Krypton television show really did a comic book accurate Brainiac, and he was great. I mean, look, Brainiac is an amazing character. If you've ever seen him in other media, if you've read him in the comics, he's an amazing character. But also, we've got to remember that a lot of DC movies, a lot of comic book movies in the last few years have been about alien invasions. I kind of have a preference for maybe a domestic villain. This is why I've always championed Metallo being the villain in a Superman movie. He's smaller. He's a human being. Something, really compelling has been done to him. He's been given a kryptonite heart. How does that affect that character? Is he a bad character? Is he an anti-hero? I think Smallville with Brian Austin Green did a great Metallo in season 9, and he reappeared in season 10 again. So, yeah, I think Metallo has great potential. But, there's lots of rumors about what James Gunn's going to do. I do believe the Middle Eastern rumors. I think that's very, very interesting because that puts into question, who's Superman's loyalties to? America, around the world, the whole globe. I mean, Superman is a hero for the whole world. Now, there's some that believe that he's just an American hero. Now, Superman is an immigrant who was brought up as an American. So he's going to have some kind of loyalty to America, but he's also an international hero. And also, in the comics, Superman goes to other planets, and even sometimes without his powers, he helps, other civilizations. So Superman is a hero for all of creation. And it's important to remember that. So, yeah, I think the Middle Eastern thing will be very, very interesting because if there is an incursion, you get all these questions. Should Superman interfere with these types of incursions in the Middle East, considering what's going on in another certain place right now? That would be a very, very timely story because human beings are good at destroying each other instead of healing each other, and that's the problem. So I think that would be really, really good. So I believe the Middle Eastern rumors about Superman Legacy. We also got a rumor about Justice League International. Bat Super, hey Mick, at last a human being I can talk to and who can interact with me. Hello, Bat Super, I'm live for the first time in ever. We are talking Superman Legacy. I am talking about what I want from Superman Legacy. I've spoken about the flying from Superman the movie. I want to see that type of flying again. I want the flying of Superman to be celebrated, to be graceful. Bat Super, it's great to see you live again. It's great to see you here, Bat Super. So thank you very much for your kindness and your interaction. And it's great to have you on the show. I'm looking to go live every morning because I'm fed up of uploading half-an-hour videos that take 9 hours to upload with my crappy internet, which means I can't stream anything. I can't watch anything. I can't watch a movie on Netflix because my internet's so crap when I'm uploading. So I decided, let's go live. I also want to cover Big Brother UK in the UK on my Instagram Movies TV Mad X. I'll probably upload the videos on here as well. So I want to cover films, entertainment, and DC. The actor strike is going to be over by the end of this week. I'm sure of it. And James Gunn is going to announce lots more casting for Superman Legacy. So that's very, very exciting because I can finally react to the bigger casting. Lex Luthor will be a huge moment because that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. Who is he going to cast as Lex Luthor? Earlier on, I said I wanted it to be an unknown. I want it to be an unknown, or I want it to be Michael Rosenbaum. I doubt it's going to be Michael Rosenbaum, but I would bloody pee my pants if it was. I'd be so happy. I'd do any dare if Michael Rosenbaum was Lex Luthor. Michael Rosenbaum should play Lex Luthor again. He should have played Lex Luthor in the Snyderverse. Michael Rosenbaum is an excellent actor. Michael Rosenbaum is the best Lex Luthor. And it's kind of a shame that we haven't seen that. Although the guy in Superman and Lois, I tell you what, he's pretty awesome as well. And we haven't seen much of him. Bat Super, it will be very interesting to see how who they cast. I think the Lex casting will surprise us. Yes, listen, I'm very comfortable. I'm not really into fan casting. Where people say, who do you want to cast as a character? Well, I don't like fan casting. I would like to see an unknown as Lex Luthor. It probably will not be an unknown. They'll probably get a star. You know, Dick Donner in 78 got a star in Gene Hackman. They got a star, Brando. Is there a bigger star that even exists now? You know, he's the most famous person to ever play Jor-El. Then Russell Crowe was the next most famous person to play Jor-El. And then Terrence Stamp played Jor-El in Smallville. So, you know, lots of three famous actors playing Jor-El. So I don't know what they're going to do here. If they're going to get big known actors to play Jor-El and Lex Luthor. Now, there's been a rumor, as I mentioned on my video last week, that Kurt Russell could be playing Jor-El. Now, Kurt Russell played Ego. Is it Ego? Ego, the Living Planet. Is it the Living Planet or whatever it is? In Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So James Gunn has used him before. He likes using people he trusts, as all directors do. I really don't like that heart coming by the comments because I can't read the comments properly. That's super. Kurt Russell would be a very huge name for Jor-El. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's not Marlon Brando. He's not even Russell Crowe. But I do like Kurt Russell. I think he's excellent. I loved him in Tango and Cash. He's done a lot of great movies. I wouldn't be disappointed with that casting. Does he put on that stilted, elegant English, or do they speak in American accents, or do they do a Michael Shannon, who didn't speak in a stilted English accent, but he knocked out the American accent out of his dialogue? Although Michael doesn't really speak with a strong American accent anyway, and I really do think it's important that aliens don't have any accents. If possible, they just speak clearly. Because, you know, that takes me out of it. If I hear an alien, two things I don't like with aliens. Female aliens wearing makeup. I hate that. Faora had bloody lipstick on after she'd been trapped in the Phantom Zone for ages, right? Where did she find lipstick? I hate aliens wearing makeup. It's annoying. James the Crab, I hope Superman Legacy is great, because if it's not, then I'm done. Well, look, obviously we want it to be great, and we don't know if it's going to be bad, good, or indifferent, but I'm in a positive state of mind right now. James Gunn is in charge. He is writing and directing a movie about my favorite character in fiction, and for now, until I get more details, I'm going to be positive about it, because it's a Superman movie. It's exciting, isn't it? Zack Snyder took his shot. Some of us loved it. Some people didn't like it. It's now history, and now we've got someone else. And no one really has been able to do what Dick Donner did. With no CGI, no computers, the visual effects even stand up today. It's amazing. I love listening to Dick Donner's and Tom Mankiewicz commentary for Superman the movie. If you're interested in pre-digital, pre-cheat code CGI technology and how they used to do things, that is a great commentary to find out all the processes they tried just to make him fly. And the patience that Kidder and Reeve must have had being in those harnesses, being in using different techniques to make him fly. And I mean, that romantic flight between Superman and Lois is beautiful. Man of Steel wasn't interested in the romance really between Clark and Lois. Not really. It rushed through it. It did it, but because it rushed through it, it seemed a bit out of kilter. You know, a lot of people think that there's no chemistry between Amy Adams and Henry Cavill. It's not about that. It's because they didn't make the effort to create chemistry, to spend time on the romance. Romance is an ugly word these days, especially straight romances. So I believe that James Gunn will celebrate the romantic connection between Clark and Lois and Superman and Lois. I think that's important. I think he has to, because being in denial of straight romance being the most relatable kind of romance out there, people love it. That's why there's shippers. I've got nothing against trans romance. I've got nothing against, same-gendered romance. But this is Superman and Lois. Celebrate it. Celebrate it, man. You know, if we want to represent people, if we want to celebrate all corners of the world, I'm all for that. But let's not be toxic about straight relationships. You know, Clark and Lois, Superman and Lois is the most special dynamic, most special romance in storytelling history. And it should absolutely be celebrated. And if it's not, I think, look, this film needs a great romance between Superman and Lois. For me, it hasn't been any better than Kidder and Reeve on that balcony in that flight of fantasy. It was amazing. You know, I think it was back then when romance was a big thing in film. You know, when you look at the older Cary Grant films, the kind of the afternoon matinees, it was all about a man and a woman falling in love. So obviously nowadays people want fast paced, they want action. But let's be clear, Superman Returns didn't have enough action, didn't make a lot of money. Now, Man of Steel had a lot more action, made more money, but still didn't make enough for the studio. So that's interesting. That's an interesting premise for me. So I think I've said this before, if you have the best of Superman Returns and the best of Man of Steel, you've got a pretty cool movie. But at the end of the day, James Gunn has to take his shot, has to make his movie. It's no good him trying to see what people want on Threads or Twitter or whatever else on social media. He has to go on his hunch. I think he will go on his hunch. You know, it's not about giving people what they want. It's about entertaining people. It's about being original. But it's also important that these characters are these characters that we've always loved. Now, Zack Snyder gave us a very different Superman. And ultimately, that different Superman polarized half of the audience. You know, if you don't have Superman snapping Zod's neck, then you make another 500 million. You make $1 billion. David Goyer can write his Man of Steel sequel, and Henry would have had a fairer shot at it, right? He didn't because of the creatives, self-indulgence. Self-indulgent creatives are a big problem in Hollywood today. When you look at the people doing Andor, or when you look at people doing Disney Star Wars. And yes, as much as I love Zack Snyder and even Christopher Nolan, they're very self-indulgent creatives. It's like Denis Villeneuve. I love him, but he's a self-indulgent creative. And I think that's interesting. I think all auteurs are quite self-indulgent, if you ask me. But now isn't the time to be self-indulgent with DC or Superman. If you want to see more self-indulgence, we can continue with Todd Phillips, Joker Folie à Deux, and the Batman 2. That's great that those directors get to be self-indulgent about their takes. But when you're making a DC cinematic universe, as Snyder was and as Gunn is now, you cannot be self-indulgent. Snyder was running a franchise for the general audience, and he just made things for himself. And there was where the problem lay. I'm being honest, I love what he did, but he was self-indulgent. And I think if you want to be self-indulgent, create your own characters, do your own thing, like he's doing with Rebel Moon. Bring on Rebel Moon. It's going to show Kathleen Kennedy and Disney Star Wars how it's done. And I'm very, very excited for that movie. So, yes. So, great flying. I want to see that. So, Lex Luthor will be involved in Superman Legacy. And Lobo, I think, will be involved in Superman Legacy. I don't think Lobo is a villain. I've never seen Lobo as a villain. I've seen Lobo as an anti-hero in a lot of ways. And I think James Gunn is the right person to deal with Lobo because characters like that are food and drink to him. Peacemaker, I think he's another Peacemaker in a way, a misunderstood character. So I've been very, very interested in that. Now, let me just interrupt my talk about Superman because there's been a lot of confusion about what James Gunn is doing with DC Universe. Now, we covered this last week, but I still see from interactions I get all over that people are still confused about if DCU is a full reboot. Ronnie Dodge, morning, Mick. Long time no see. You don't come and see me anymore, Ronnie. No, I haven't gone live for a while, Ronnie. I've been putting out content. I haven't even been doing premieres. So what we're going to do now, because Big Brother UK launched last night, we're going to be doing live DC videos, movie videos, talking about movies, entertainment, DC in the morning about this time. If you're not here, you can rewatch the live later on at your leisure, because I'm fed up of sitting here for 9 hours uploading a 30-minute video because my internet is shit. So yes, Ronnie, welcome. We're talking about Superman Legacy, but I really want to try and explain to people what's going on with DCU in terms of canon to the DC Extended Universe. Now, James has already said nothing's canon till Creature Commandos and Superman Legacy. We've been talking about it not being a full reboot for a very long time. Let's be absolutely clear. DC Universe is a full reboot, but he's going to use some of the actors from the DCEU to play their characters from the DCEU, but they're not from the DCEU. When you're in Creature Commandos and when you're in Superman Legacy, as from that moment, you're basically starting from scratch. Your DC Extended Universe history is gone. It's finished because Barry Allen changed the past, reset the universe, rebooted the universe in the Flash movie, which means we're starting again. So even if Margot Robbie is still Harley Quinn, everything she did in those other movies doesn't count. The DCEU no longer counts. So do you understand that? So if Margot Robbie or anyone else from the DCEU is playing their characters they played in the DCEU, you know, they're starting from scratch. They will have no memory of what happened in the other timeline. And I think that's what's going on there. Ronnie George, I'm guessing he's using some of the same actors with new backgrounds and origins. That's right, Ronnie. Yeah, you're getting it. So basically, that's what I'm saying to you. It's a full reboot. Now, you're going to say to me, well, if he's using the same actors, Mick, how can it be a full reboot? Because it is. It's basically a new universe using some of the old actors in their roles. But as I say, their past doesn't count. Now, the reason we were confused about this months and months and, you know, a year or two ago is because he wasn't explaining himself properly, purposely to create conversation. Bat Super, it is like a comic universe reboot. That's right. Barry Allen. Right. So let me explain something else to you. Ezra Miller's Barry Allen is trapped in the Joel Schumacher and Tim Burton Batman universe. That's why he was there with George Clooney. Or he could be somewhere else where George Clooney is also Batman. We are talking about the multiverse. But he's not in the brand new DC Universe timeline. He's trapped there. Now, who knows if we'll ever see him again? I said the other day, I don't think we're going to see Barry Allen being played by anyone again. But what I believe is we're going to get a Kid Flash. We're going to get other members of the Flash family. But I would love him to go with Barry Allen again. But maybe Barry Allen does need a break. We saw him in TV. There are other members of the Flash family that can use, like Wally West. I'd like to see Wally West and give Barry Allen a bit of a break. Ronnie Dodge, I do get it. Anything that happened in the past movies never happened, yes. Because James Gunn is there because the DCEU never worked. Now, movies in the DCEU, but it didn't work as a franchise. I polarized people or bored the shit out of people. I love Man of Steel, BVS, the Snyder Cut, Aquaman. I love those movies. They are great. Shazam's a solid movie, but it's not a good franchise. It didn't work. Bat Super, I bet they are going to do Wally West as Flash. You know what? I don't mind. Because at the end of the day, there's more to the Flash character than Barry Allen. So if they do go Wally West, you know, there's so many different characters, but I want to see the Flash. What I want to see, I want Barry Allen used, but what I want to see, right? Maybe Barry Allen can be older in this universe and like there's a bigger family. So him and Iris are married. They're older. He's still the Flash, but there's other versions of the Flash family. And he is, you know, the patriarch of that Flash family. I think James Gunn is going to be looking to do that. Ronnie Dodge, once the strike is over, we get casting announcements by Jimmy Olsen and Lex. Yes, we do. James Gunn has promised that. James Gunn is mostly on Threads now because those idiots have driven him off of Twitter. I don't have enough app space to be on Threads as well at the moment. So I'm on Twitter. I'm trying to, get as much, collate as much information so we can do these videos and you know what's going on. I believe the strike, my sources tell me the strike will be over by the end of this week. So I'm very, very excited about casting. So we could have an unknown actor as Lex. It will be interesting who he does cast as Lex Luthor, but whatever he does, people are going to have an opinion. Look, when Eisenberg was announced, people weren't happy. I love Eisenberg as an actor, but he's not Lex Luthor. Now, I think he played Lex Luthor quite well. But he wasn't a lot of people's cup of tea. It was the same thing with Jared Leto. I liked what Leto tried to do with Joker, but he was polarizing. He wasn't people's cup of tea. And with the past between Leto and Gunn, there's no way Leto comes back as Joker. So they'll look to cast a new Joker for Brave and the Bold in that Batman universe as well. Ronnie Dodge, I feel Skylar is playing Jimmy Olsen. I don't know who Skylar is. I've heard a few rumors about a few actors, but I don't know who Skylar is. So, but I've seen some pictures. I mean, I like Jimmy Olsen to be young. I want Jimmy Olsen to be 16, 17, maybe 18 at most. I want him to be that school leaver who comes to work at the biggest newspaper in the world and becomes best friends with the greatest superhero in the world. Jimmy Olsen in the comics is our way into the story. He is the Doctor Who companion. Jimmy Olsen is more important than people give him credit for when he's done properly. And probably live action have never totally done him justice, although Mark McClure in Superman movie, Superman 2, Superman 3, Superman 4 was outstanding. Rolo, Skylar Gisondo, never heard of them, but I've seen pictures of some of the rumors. I've probably seen his picture. I haven't seen the pictures I've seen. I've liked. As I say, I want my Jimmy Olsen to be young. I want him to be a school leaver. I want him to be from 16 to 18. I want him to come into this glamorous world of the Daily Planet. I want him to become Superman's best pal. I want a bond there. I think that friendship is very important. Rolo, Bill Skarsgård for Joker and Nicholas for Lex Luthor. Look, I said this earlier, I'm not much for fan casting. I'm quite happy for unknown people to play all these roles. But I know Nicholson, one of the most famous actors in the world, played Joker. I would be fine with Bill Skarsgård. There are also better actors out there who could be better Jokers. We will see. Nicholas Hoult for Lex Luthor. Well, I don't mind that. I think Nick is a brilliant actor. He's a great lad. And I'd be fine with that. I mean, look, for me, I'm going to go with whatever Gunn does because I've decided to trust him. And if I see the movie and I hate it, I will be honest about that. But right now, I know that James Gunn has great comic book knowledge at the very least, and he's going to try his best. He knows this has to be successful, so he can't mess about. Ronnie Dodge, I'm excited to see what David and Rachel can do with Clark and Lois. Well, as I said earlier, that romance, that relationship, it's the most important romance in fiction. It's the greatest romance in fiction. And when it's done well, like it was between Reeve and Kidder, like it was done by Welling and Durrance and, Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain, when it's done well, people celebrate it. I mean, in David and Rachel, you've got two of the best actors out there. I mean, if you haven't seen her in the fabulous Mrs. Maisel or Miss Maisel, or however you say whatever title she uses, she's an outstanding actor. I believe she kind of looks like someone, even when she's not in her makeup for Miss Maisel, she looks like a period drama. So that's going to be interesting. I think she's going to be a very classic type of Lois as well. So, yeah, I think they're going to be great. Ronnie Dodge, you've seen the recent pics of David. He's definitely bulking up. Yes. Well, I think that if this writers' strike is over soon, I think they can go and start shooting in spring. So you're talking about March or April, Ronnie. So he needs to start now. I don't think he'll be as buff as Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill was very buff, especially Man of Steel. I don't think James will go for the overbulk. I think Christopher Reeve wasn't overbulked. I thought Christopher Reeve was just right. Henry was Arnold Schwarzenegger level bulked in Man of Steel. I'm not sure if you need to be that bulked. The powers are inherently inside Superman. So you don't need to have this strongman vibe as much as Henry had in the first movie. Henry looked terrific. Henry worked really hard to get that body, and I respect him for that. But I don't think David will be as bulked up as Henry Cavill was in Man of Steel. And you've got the situation when we're talking about what type of Superman I want to see, red short, red trunks or no red trunks. That's another huge debate, which really shouldn't be a huge debate, what underpants someone is wearing, but there you go. Rolo, I don't mind unknowns playing these characters, but they just need to look like the characters. I don't necessarily think they need to look like the characters, Rolo. Obviously, that would be good. I think they need to be written like the way they're supposed to be. They need to perform the way we expect them to be. Looks are not as important, although when you look at Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor in the Smallville pilot, he absolutely looks like a lot of pictures you would imagine a young Lex Luthor looking. So when you see the older Lex in the comics, you think, yeah, that's a young Lex Luthor. So I get what you mean. But it's no good getting a physically appropriate Lex Luthor if he can't act. The most important thing is that they perform the role and the role's written in the right way. James a Crap. John Camper says that James Gunn is not bringing back Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Well, to be honest with you, James, I wouldn't mind that. I'm not a big fan of Margot anymore. I thought she did a great job in the first Suicide Squad movie. Then I found out she was a third-wave feminist. So basically, I would celebrate her not being involved, but I'm not convinced. But it'll be interesting. Let's see what happens. I mean, James Gunn in the past has said she is Harley Quinn. We will see. Ronnie Dodge, how do you feel about Big Brother being on ITV? Well, let's take that at the very top, Ronnie. I hated Channel 5's coverage of Big Brother from the beginning. I hated X Factor presenting it, Ryland, and I hated the wife of the pop star, Emma Willis, presenting it. I thought they were both arrogant fools. I didn't like the style. I thought Channel 5's Big Brother was ultimately a hatchet job, a fixed job. And I didn't like Emma Willis going, "You lot on Twitter." I'm very happy with Big Brother last night. I didn't trust ITV to do a great job, Ronnie, but they've done brilliant. I actually know a couple of the housemates in the house, and you've got one hell of a ride. Great, well-casted contestants, vibrant young presenters. I was buzzing last night. Couldn't get to sleep. I was so excited. I'm very happy, and I'm going to be updating on my brand new Instagram, Movies TV Mad X, and I'll be uploading videos on here. And hopefully on Twitter, although Twitter's a bastard to upload videos. But Super, I think they will do the red belt instead of the trunks. Interesting. I think he's going with the red trunks. We will see. Rolo, Robbie's probably too expensive now because of Barbie. I don't think it has anything to do with expense, Rolo, one little bit if she's not involved anymore. They can pay her. Don't listen to crap that they can't afford to do this and they can't afford to do that. If they want to use her, they will. She's become a parody as Harley Quinn, really, since Birds of Prey. As I say, in the first Suicide Squad movie, that's Harley. That was the animated Harley. And since then, even though she was okay in James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, he tried to kind of pardon her for all her sins. Harley Quinn is not a feminist. She's not an anti-hero. She's a psychotic killer. You've got to embrace that, or don't bother doing her character. Ronnie Dodge, I really like AJ and Will as the host. Yes, much better than Ryland. Much better than Emma Willis, who was only there because she's a pop star's wife. Don't like the woman. Never liked Five's Big Brother. I'm a big fan of the first 3 years of Big Brother because that was the big experiment, the human experiment. It worked. 5 and 6 were kind of fake, but were outstanding. And then from season 7, it just went downhill. But I like, these people look like genuine people. I'm really excited. So, yes, Ronnie, I'm very, very excited. I do know Hallie. Wow, yes, I was surprised to see Hallie on there last night as well. And I know Olivia. So, yes, it's going to be one hell of a ride. I'm a big Big Brother fan. I've tried to get on Big Brother a lot of times. Obviously, I haven't been successful, but I'll always keep on trying because that's me. I'm a trier. That's why I'm on this YouTube channel with 4 people watching, because that's me. I never give up. I'll keep on trying until it works for me. That's who I am. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Ronnie Dodge felt for the guy who had no water and got his no hot water and got his suitcase exploded. Oh, that was hilarious. But you could tell there was nothing in that fucking suitcase anyway. They haven't exploded. Basically, they're just messing. He knows his clothes are not in there. He'll get them eventually. But yeah, I love it when Big Brother gets evil. Very exciting. It was great. I was surprised how good it was. The after show was great, and there was some live coverage after it. It was so late out here in Cyprus. We're 2 hours ahead of the UK, but I stayed awake for all the coverage, and it was very, very exciting to be watching it, for it to be back. It's a great reality show. This is not live. This is not Love Island, Gen Z millennials. You're going to get controversy. It's going to get aggressive. It may even get physically aggressive. Welcome to the real world. That's what Big Brother should be. It should be offensive. It should be immoral. People should be mean. The producers should be... Basically, the only reason you get into Big Brother is because you're a nut job. That's why, right? And it's not because you're talented or you're special. It's because you're a nut job, right? And nut jobs are great TV. That's what you want. And you want them to be made to suffer. You don't want them to have a holiday for a month like they do on Love Island. You don't want to see them sunbathing, right? You want to see them suffer. That's great reality TV. Rolo, is the actor strike ending? Negotiations are going very, very well, Rolo. I'm told by the end of this week, it should all be over. And once that happens, James Gunn has promised to make Man Legacy announcements, and he can keep his production date, the commencement of his production date, in spring of 2024, around March and April. So that's very exciting. Bad Super, I have a feeling Batman Caped Crusader won't come out until 2024. I'm not sure when it's supposed to come out. It might, I don't know. Yeah, because of I think they may have already made it before the actors strike, Bat Super. But that's a very exciting project. Of course, it's going to be on Amazon. Don't forget that. I'm not sure if you can still see it on Max, but it's definitely going to be on Amazon. They sold it to Amazon. I've got access to Amazon, so I'm very, very excited to see that, inject new DC content in my veins, because it's been very sad to have to put up with these remaining DCEU movies that nobody believes in, neither the consumer or the people or the studio releasing them. Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom will be here. Excited for everyone to see that. Then we're done. It's a new era. We give James Gunn a chance and we see what he can give us. Because without consuming stuff, you can't judge stuff. It's as simple as that. Even if you hate the guy, it doesn't matter. He's the one in charge. We want to see great DC. I mean, look, you're either a DC fan, right? Are you a DC fan? Or are you a fan of a director, right? Now, I'm a fan of Zack Snyder, but I'm not here for Zack. I'm here for great TV, great movies, and I'm here for DC, right? I love Dick Donner, but I wasn't a here for Dick Donner person. Dick Donner didn't need people to be here for him because his work was outstanding and he created the best version of Superman of all time in Superman the movie. And that's a factual statement because he had a role, right? He wasn't going to mess around, as he said, with, Granny's apple pie. This was Americana. Superman is American mythology. And when you mess with him, when you try and change him as fundamentally as Goya did in Man of Steel, you polarize it. When you have Superman grabbing someone's neck and breaking it, that upsets people. And although I still enjoy Man of Steel to this day, I can understand why people were upset about that. Just think about it for a minute. That's super. I think Ed Brubaker said that the writing for Caped Crusader was already done before the strike. He did an interview this summer, and if I'm not misremembering it, writing was completed last year. Yeah. So I don't know where they are, if they've done it, if they haven't done it, because I never got any updates about that. But you could be right. It could be out next year. I'm comfortable with that. We're going to get to see it eventually. The important thing going forward is now we get great DC content. I believe everyone, look, no, I'll say that again. I loved what I saw in the test screening from Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. If they keep the fundamentals of what I saw, it's going to be a Wrath of Khan movie, and it could be a great ending to the DC Extended Universe. Next year is about Joker Folie à Deux. That will be a great movie. I have no doubt about that. The Batman and Superman legacy in 2025 and beyond. Very excited. Creature Commandos, I think, is going to be an awesome animated series. James Gunn with a group of people, group of characters, a group of anti-heroes. That's what James Gunn does well. So I don't think James Gunn's ever missed with CBMs. He never missed with Peacemaker either. It's what he does well. He does things differently. It can be humorous. It can be sad. He knows what he's doing. And people like his CBMs. It's as simple as that. He's never made a bad comic book movie. It's factual. The Suicide Squad is a great movie. It doesn't matter that it was a flop. Was it a good movie? Yes, it was. Did you enjoy it? Don't lie. You did. And James Gunn is good at what he does. So I'm not interested in the historical tweets. I'm not. James the Crap, the Truth 31 is losing subscribers. Well, I lose subscribers all the time, so I can hardly laugh at him now, can I? And he's got a lot more subscribers than I have. It is ironic that he does call himself Truth 31. The problem with Truth 31, James, is he just does the same thing all the time. All what the Truth 31 wants to do is trigger Snyder fans. That's how he gets views. And in the end, people can see what you're doing and they get bored. Rolo, I think we might get Waller in 2024 if the production wraps before. Yeah, Waller is wrapped. I think Waller is wrapped. Sorry, I can't read your comments properly. I'll tell you why. Because I've got a bloody heart there. And it's in my bloody way. So now I've lost. Jesus Christ, man. Right, yeah. So Rolo, yes. I think Waller is completed and ready to go. And I think, I forgot to mention that. We've got Joker next year, and we've got Waller, and we've got Creature Commandos next year as well. So very exciting. So we've got 3 exciting projects, and then 2025 is the big year. Superman Legacy, the Batman 2. Oh, and of course, how could I forget? We have Matt Reeves, the Penguin Max show as well. So next year we got Penguin. We've got Waller. And who doesn't want to see, Amanda Waller? So, and then we've got Joker next year as well. We've probably got Creature Commandos as well. So that's a semi-big year, and then 2025 is going to be huge. Rolo, Waller was wrapped before the strike. Waller has been pretty much done for a while. Waller was always happening, whether James was co-CEO of DC Studios. Peacemaker 2 was always happening, whether or not there was projects. Creature Commandos was always going to happen, right? What he's done is taken them and he's now adding them to his new franchise. But yes, basically Waller is a continuation of what he set up in the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. Don't be surprised if you do see Margot Robbie cameo, or if you do see Idris Elba, cameo, or if you do see, my beloved Daniela Melchior as Ratcatcher 2, who absolutely captured my heart in the Suicide Squad. Great movie, don't care what anyone says. I can celebrate all types of DC directors. It's not about supporting just one. So I love you, Zack Snyder. I love you, Zack Snyder fans. I love you, David Ayer. I love you, James Gunn, for your creativity, right? And I can do that. And that's cool. There doesn't have to be a war. And I'm excited for what's happening going forward. I've also criticized James and the studio for some of the misinformation and confusing information and untruthful information to promote the DCEU movies, especially saying The Flash was one of the best CBMs he'd ever seen. But it doesn't mean he's not a great director. It doesn't mean I don't love him as a creative. And I'm excited for what he's going to give us with this DC Universe future. I can criticize someone, but I can also compliment them about a different subject. That's how it works. That's not being a flip-flop. Just because you don't like one thing someone did, it doesn't mean you have to go on a hate rant for them, about them, on them forever. Life is about balance. The internet is either The internet's so black and white. That's one of the things I don't like about the internet. Rolo, Mick, you were breaking up for a second. Can you answer the question again? Right. Let's try again. Right. What did you ask me? Right. Rolo, Waller was wrapped before the strike. Yeah, Waller was wrapped months before the strike. Waller's been finished for a very, very long time, Rolo, because whether James, I'll say again, whether James was DC CEO or not, DC Studio CEO, he was always doing Waller. He was always doing Peacemaker too. That's why I said to you, that's how I answered your question. You know, he was always doing Creature Commandos, but now he's kind of intermixing them with his new universe, right? So yes, that was wrapped a very, very long time ago. Waller is ready to go because it basically is the continuation from Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. And I also said to you, don't be surprised if we see Idris Elba as Bloodsport, Daniela Melchior as Ratcatcher 2, you know, and Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, maybe. I think we're going to see a lot of good, exciting stuff. I think we'll see a lot of the characters we saw in the first Peacemaker series in Waller. But let me pre-warn you, if you're waiting for straight off the bat reactions to Waller or Creature Commandos, I do not have access to Max where I am. And so I won't be able to watch them straight off the bat. So I'm either going to have to get them on hard copy when they're available or wait for them to be on Sky UK as Peacemaker was. So it's not going to be a straight reaction from me, and I don't want to pirate them. So I'm going to have to wait. I will obviously get spoilers from social media, and we'll talk about it a little bit. But yeah, unfortunately, yes, it's very sad, but I don't have access to Max. Let's see if we get, maybe this time we can, you know, Sky viewers will get, you know, Waller and Creature Commandos at this, and Penguin. Penguin's another one that's going to be on Max. So hopefully somehow I'll have access to all these things. You know, I'm still trying to think of a way because it's a bit more difficult to do it with Max, how we do other ones when we're outside of the country. Because what you have to do for Max, you have to go on another website. And look, it's very difficult. It's a bit, let's say it's a bit, it's VPN proof. I find Max quite VPN proof. Rolo, Gunn wanted to bring Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke, but it didn't work out. Maybe he's in Waller. Well, this is interesting. There were some Joe Manganiello hints from James Gunn in the past. Well, there was definitely Deathstroke hints. So maybe Deathstroke is the villain in Waller. That's very, very interesting. Now, James Gunn has said, right? James Gunn has said nothing's canon until Creature Commandos and Superman Legacy. But will Waller come out before Creature Commandos? If it does, that means Waller isn't canon to the DCU. It's interesting. Let's see when Waller is released. But I'll be very excited to see Manganiello as Deathstroke or anyone as Deathstroke because he's a compelling character. For me, the Arrowverse's Deathstroke has been the best interpretation of the character. But who is your favourite interpretation? To be fair to Manganiello, we didn't see enough of him to make a judgment on if he's any good as Deathstroke. Although I did like what I saw in the Snyder Cut. I didn't mind what they did with him in Justice League in the post-credit scene as well. I think that actually Jeff Johns had an interesting plan with the Injustice League. But anyway, that's all history now. And we'll see what happens in Waller. But I am in. Look, at the end of the day, right, you've got an amazing actor playing Waller. Why wouldn't you be excited to see that show? So bring it on. And James Gunn's producing. I don't think James Gunn's as fully involved in that series as he was with Peacemaker. I think he hasn't got another couple of showrunners. Let's see what they do with it. So is that part of DC Universe or isn't it? We will find out. Yeah, I think the best Deathstroke's definitely been Arrowverse, but then they had him properly. You know, I didn't really like the I think we had a Deathstroke in Smallville. That was one of the worst DC incarnations they ever did. And they were normally really good with DC characterizations, but that was pretty bad. Because when you're lazy and you can't be bothered to do something properly, and it was more about the actor they chose and more about doing the character justice, and that was a shame. But I do like Deathstroke as a character when he's done properly. Amazing DC character, one of the greats. And I think that, you know, he will want to do the Teen Titans, James Gunn, as well. So Deathstroke will be very important in the future of DC Universe. Rolo, Manu Bennett was the Arrow Deathstroke. That's it, Manu. Brilliant. They introduced him in season 1. Then they really, you know, fleshed out that great storyline where he's Oliver's friend on the island. And that moment when he kills Moira Queen, has there been a more compelling moment in DC history? But I compare to Moira's murder in Arrow, as I did with Rita being murdered in Dexter. In its inception, when you first see it, it's shocking, it's compelling, it's a wow moment. But then you realize that the show kind of needed those two characters. Dexter was never the same after Rita not being involved in the show because she was the balance. She was Dexter's balance. That's who Dexter came home to. She was important. And Moira Queen was very important to that show. But what you do is you underestimate these important characters because they're not part of the central storyline. So even though killing those characters off was very compelling and exciting, in the end, the show suffered for losing them. James O'Craig, last name, he is so nasty. Maybe he probably thinks that your last name's fake. But what did you say to him, James? Was he just mean to you for no reason, or did you wind him up? But there's no need for any of that. There's no need for nastiness. People need to know how to disagree. The internet has lost what it's never had it. Doesn't understand the concept of agreeing to disagree. I can disagree with you. You can disagree with me. We defeated Adolf Hitler so we could disagree with each other. Disagreement isn't a call to arms. We've got to respect each other's opinion, no matter how toxic we think it is, and move on. It happened with me on Twitter. We were talking about the troubles in Israel. I had one opinion, and the other person had an opinion that kind of upset me. And I don't want to go into it on YouTube. And I said, you know what? You've said your bit. I've said my bit. Let's remain friends because I follow him and he follows me. And let's agree to disagree. I think we should stop talking about this now. And we did. This is how I deal with people. I like to deal with disagreements intelligently. I don't want to go to war with people. It's boring. Going to war may amp up your content creation for a little while. But as I said earlier to you, James, in the end, people see through you. If I just come on here every day and just be furious about WB and what they did to Snyder, you're going to get bored in the end. It's boring. We've spoken about it. I'll speak about it again when it's in the news, when I feel I need to talk about it. But ultimately, I'm a DC fan. I'm a fan of great TV, great entertainment, great film. At the moment, I'm just watching old movies, right? Because there's nothing good out there new for me right now. It's the same old crap. It's the same old extremism. It's the same propaganda we're getting all the time as well. So I'm really not interested in modern content. But I am excited for DC. I am excited to see brand new DC content. So that's really what I'll be watching going forward. I will be watching Rebel Moon because that's my type of shit. Sci-fi, R-rated sci-fi. Can you get better than good R-rated sci-fi? And hopefully it is good. So I love Zack Snyder, but I'm not a here for Zack person. And even when I was fighting to release the Snyder Cut, I made that abundantly clear to people. You know, I grew up watching Star Wars 77. I grew up watching Superman the movie. I wore out my VHS of both movies. I respect the fact that Dick Donner made a Superman movie pre the CGI cheat code. Physically making Superman fly. Physically having a fortress rise up, looking stunning as it's doing it. Great flying sequences. That's one of the things I want to see in Superman Legacy. Great flying. I want to see great majestic flying. Will anyone ever fly again as grandiosely as Christopher Reeve did, because we haven't seen it yet. I love Man of Steel, but the flying isn't as good as how they did it physically in camera in Superman the movie. When he's flying after that rocket, it is sensational. Sensational. And I don't think we'll see the likes of that again. Thank you for tuning in to today's live. We will be going live every single morning at the same time for the next month or two, I think, and we'll see how we get on going forward. So probably you won't be seeing a lot of pre-recorded content, mostly live in the morning. My internet's rubbish, takes all day to upload a half an hour video. I'm fed up of not being able to use my internet while I'm uploading. So most probably we're not going to do it like that for a while, because the thing is, it's a shame. I love doing pre-recorded content. It's fun. I love doing it, but I have very rubbish internet. So I hope you've enjoyed this live. I will be back tomorrow. Please share the videos. Please like. Please subscribe if you're new. You can follow me on Twitter at MoviesTVMad. Brand new Instagram, MoviesTVMadX, which I do a daily 5-minute video on as well. I think going forward, while Big Brother UK is on, I'm going to be mainly on Instagram, MoviesTVMadX, doing Big Brother daily reaction evening videos. So look out for them as well. Bat Super, see you in the next live. Have a great day. You too, Bat Super. Thanks for your support. Get your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Come back tomorrow. I'll be here live tomorrow. Join me on Twitter. Join me on Instagram. Until I see you again tomorrow, goodbye. It's been fun.